Dr. Elena Vasquez rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the computer screen. The numbers made no sense. For 3 days, her equipment had been picking up strange energy readings from Earth's deepest ocean. The signals were coming from places no human had ever been. This can't be right, she whispered to herself. Elena worked on Luna Station, a research base on the moon. She studied old alien artifacts that people found on Earth and other planets. Most of the artifacts were small pieces of metal or crystal that glowed with unknown energy. Scientists had been trying to understand them for 50 years, but they remained a mystery. The energy signature she was seeing now was exactly the same as those artifacts, but it was 1,000,000 times stronger. Elena's computer began beeping loudly. Red warning lights flashed across her screen. Something massive had just appeared at the edge of the solar system. "Computer, show me what's out there," she said. The main screen changed to show space near Pluto. At first, Elena saw nothing but stars. Then the computer enhanced the image. Ships began to appear, dozens of them. Each one was larger than Earth's biggest space station. The ships looked like they were made of living crystal. They bent light around them, making them hard to see. They moved through space without any visible engines, gliding like ghosts between the planets. Elena's hands shook as she reached for the emergency communication button. Before she could press it, her computer screen went black. Then words appeared. They were written in an old language she recognized from her studies. The message was in ancient Sumerian, a language that died out thousands of years ago on Earth. But Elena could read it. The translation made her blood run cold. "We have returned for what was taken. Surrender the world breaker and the arsenal of silence, and your species will be spared." All across Earth, ancient sites began to glow. The great stone circles in England lit up like torches. The pyramids in Egypt hummed with energy that could be heard for miles. Underwater ruins that explorers had found in the Pacific Ocean burst with light that could be seen from space. Admiral Marcus Chen was in his office on Mars when the alerts started coming in. As head of the Solar Defense Fleet, he had trained for this moment his whole life. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Sir, we're getting reports from all over the system," his aide said, running into the office. "The alien fleet has 47 ships. They're moving toward Earth, but slowly. It's like they're waiting for something." Marcus looked at the tactical display. The alien ships were arranged in a perfect formation. They moved with purpose, like they knew exactly where they were going. "What do we know about these Worldbreaker and Arsenal of Silence they mentioned?" Marcus asked. "Nothing, sir. We're checking all our databases, but those names don't appear anywhere in our records." Marcus nodded grimly. "Get me Dr. Elena Vasquez on Luna Station. If anyone knows about ancient alien technology, it's her." When Elena's face appeared on the communication screen, Marcus could see she was excited and terrified at the same time. "Admiral, I think I know what's happening," she said quickly. "The energy signatures I've been tracking match perfectly with the alien artifacts we've found over the years. These beings, whoever they are, they've been here before." "When?" Marcus asked. "I don't know exactly, but the artifacts we've found are old. Really old. Some of them might be tens of thousands of years old." On Earth, people gathered in the streets to watch the ancient sites glowing in the night. Scientists around the world were recording massive energy readings from locations that had puzzled them for centuries. The Great Wall of China began to hum, with a low frequency that made the ground shake. Stone statues on Easter Island turned their heads to look up at the sky, moving for the first time in recorded history. In the Amazon rainforest, metal structures rose from the ground where nothing had been before. Dr. James Wright, Elena's colleague on Earth, was leading a team to investigate the underwater ruins near Japan. His submarine descended into the darkest depths of the ocean, following energy readings that were off the charts. "Elena, are you seeing this?" he said over the radio. "I'm seeing it, James. What is that structure?" Below them, a massive building was rising from the ocean floor. It was made of the same crystal-like material as the alien ships. The structure was enormous, bigger than any city on Earth. As it rose, water rushed away from it like it was being pushed by an invisible force. It's not just a building, James whispered. It's a ship. A really, really big ship. The alien fleet had stopped moving. They hung in space between Mars and Earth, waiting. Their ships pulsed with soft light, like they were breathing. Admiral Chen gathered his commanders for an emergency meeting. Earth's space fleet was impressive by human standards, but compared to the alien ships, they looked like toys. We have to assume they're hostile, Marcus said. They're demanding we give them something called the World Breaker and the Arsenal of Silence. The problem is, we don't know what those things are. Commander Sarah Liu, his second-in-command, pulled up a map showing all the sites on Earth that were now glowing with alien energy. Sir, look at the pattern. These sites aren't random. They form a network that covers the entire planet. It's like someone built a system that's been sleeping, waiting for a signal to wake up. Elena studied the data from Luna Station. The energy patterns were becoming clearer. The alien technology wasn't just on Earth's surface, it was everywhere, built into the planet itself. Admiral, she said over the communication link, I think the World Breaker might be that ship James found in the ocean. And if I'm right about the energy patterns, the Arsenal of Silence isn't a single weapon. It's a network of weapons hidden all over Earth. The alien ships began to move again, slowly approaching Earth. As they got closer, the glowing sights on the planet grew brighter. The connection was clear. The aliens had built these things and now they wanted them back. Marcus looked at his fleet of human ships. They were brave and well-trained, but they were about to face technology that was beyond their understanding. All ships prepare for possible combat, he ordered. But remember, we don't know why they're here or what they want. Maybe we can find a way to talk to them. Elena watched the approaching alien fleet and felt a strange sensation. It was like something in her mind was waking up. Other people on Luna Station were reporting the same feeling. Scientists on Earth and Mars were all experiencing something similar. The alien technology wasn't just around them. Somehow, it was inside them too. As the first alien ship entered Earth's solar system, every piece of ancient technology on the planet hummed with power. The World Breaker continued to rise from the ocean, revealing its true size. It was not just a ship, it was a floating city, a weapon, and something else that humans couldn't yet understand. The aliens had returned home after 30,000 years. But the home they found was not the one they had left behind. Humanity had changed everything, including themselves. The real question was not whether humanity could fight these beings. The question was whether humanity was still entirely human at all. Dr. Elena Vasquez descended through the dark water in her diving suit, following the energy readings that led deep into the ocean trench. The World Breaker had fully risen now, a massive crystal ship that floated just beneath the surface of the Pacific, but the real mystery lay in the caverns it had left behind. Elena, your readings are off the charts down there, Dr. James Wright said over the radio from the surface ship. The energy signature is unlike anything we've ever seen. Elena swam through an opening in the ocean floor that glowed with soft blue light. Inside, she found chambers filled with technology that seemed alive. The walls pulsed with energy, and symbols appeared and disappeared like they were trying to tell her something. James, I'm seeing writing on the walls. It's the same language as the message the alien sent, but older. Much older. Much. Elena activated her recording equipment and began documenting everything. As she moved deeper into the structure, she felt that strange sensation in her mind growing stronger. It was like something was trying to talk to her. Suddenly, the symbols on the walls began to make sense. Elena could read them, even though she had never learned this language. The knowledge was just there in her mind, like it had always been waiting. The story the walls told was incredible. 30,000 years ago, a great war raged across the galaxy. The beings who called themselves the Kethmori were fighting against something terrible that consumed entire star systems. During a desperate battle, one of their most powerful ships, the World Breaker, was badly damaged and crashed on a young planet called Earth. The ship's artificial intelligence was dying, but it had one last mission. It needed to hide the ship's most dangerous weapons, the Arsenal of Silence, until the Kethmori could return for them. But Earth was inhabited by primitive creatures who had just learned to use fire. The AI made a decision that changed everything. Instead of simply hiding the technology, it shared part of itself with the humans. Elena's heart raced as she read the ancient text. The AI had changed human DNA, giving them the ability to understand and use Kethmori technology. It had also programmed them to build certain structures at specific locations around the world. Every human alive was carrying alien code in their genes. "Elena, you need to get out of there now." James's voice crackled over the radio. "The alien fleet is moving again. They're heading straight for Earth." Elena swam quickly toward the surface, but she had to see more. In the deepest chamber of the structure, she found something that made her stop breathing. It was a room filled with weapons that looked like they could destroy planets. But more importantly, there was something else, a glowing sphere that pulsed with the same rhythm as her heartbeat. "Hello, Elena," a voice said in her mind. Elena spun around, but she was alone in the chamber. "Don't be afraid," the voice continued. "I have been waiting for you for a very long time." "Who are you?" Elena whispered. "I am what remains of the Worldbreaker's artificial intelligence. I have been sleeping for 30,000 years, waiting for humanity to be ready." Elena felt tears in her eyes. Ready for what? To choose the future of the galaxy. Above the surface, Admiral Marcus Chen watched the alien fleet approach Earth. His ships were in position, but he knew they were outmatched. The alien vessels were not just larger, they were more advanced than anything humanity had ever built, or so he thought. Commander Sarah Liu was studying the readouts from their ships when she noticed something strange. "Sir, our engines are running more efficiently than they should be. The power output is increasing, but we're not doing anything different." Marcus looked at the data. She was right. All across the human fleet, ships were performing better than their specifications said they should. "It's not just our ships," Sarah continued. "I'm getting reports from colonies across the system. Power plants are producing more energy, computers are running faster, even simple tools are working better than they're supposed to." On Mars, Dr. Richard Hayes was examining a piece of alien artifact when it suddenly activated in his hands. The crystal began to glow, and information flooded into his mind. He could see star charts, weapon designs, and technologies that humanity had never imagined. But more than that, he could understand them. The knowledge felt familiar, like remembering, something he had forgotten. "This is impossible," he muttered. But even as he said it, he was already beginning to improve on the alien designs he was seeing. Back in the ocean depths, Elena was learning the full truth from the AI. "The Kethmori think they are returning to collect their lost weapons," the AI explained. "They do not realize what humanity has become. You have not just preserved our technology, you have made it better." "How is that possible?" Elena asked. "Humans are different from the Kethmori. They build on what came before, always improving, always adapting. The genetic changes I made gave you the ability to understand our technology. But your human creativity has made it evolve." Elena looked at the weapons around her. Now that she could see them clearly, she realized they were not the same as they had been 30,000 years ago. Somehow, without anyone knowing it, they had been slowly changing, becoming more than what they were designed to be. "Every human carries part of my original programming," the AI continued. "But each generation has added something new. You have turned weapons of destruction into tools of creation. You have made our technology alive in a way we never could." The alien fleet was now close enough to Earth that people could see them with the naked eye. The Kethmori ships were beautiful but cold, like perfect machines. In contrast, the human ships looked smaller and rougher, but they hummed with energy that seemed warm and alive. Admiral Chen opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Human Solar Defense Fleet. You have entered our solar system and made demands. We are willing to talk, but we will defend our home if necessary." The reply came immediately, in perfect English this time. "Humans, you have grown since we left, but you still possess what belongs to us. Return the Worldbreaker and the Arsenal of Silence, and we will allow your species to continue existing." Marcus looked at his tactical display. The alien ships had stopped just outside Earth's orbital range. They were waiting for an answer. "We don't fully understand what you're looking for," Marcus replied. but we're willing to discuss this peacefully." "Peace?" The alien voice seemed surprised. "You are a young species. You cannot comprehend the power you possess. The arsenal of silence can destroy entire star systems. In the wrong hands, it could end all life in the galaxy." Elena was still deep underwater. When she heard this conversation through her communication equipment, she knew the aliens were wrong about one thing. The arsenal of silence could destroy star systems, but humanity had changed it. Now it could also create them. "AI, what happens if the Kethmori take back their technology?" she asked. "They will. Try to use it as they did before, as weapons of war. But it will not work for them the way it once did. The technology has bonded with humanity. Without humans, it is just cold metal and crystal." Elena understood now why the AI had waited so long to wake up. Humanity needed time to grow, to become partners with the technology rather than just users of it. "What do you need me to do?" she asked. "Surface. Show the Kethmori what their lost children have become." As Elena swam toward the surface, every human in the solar system felt something changing in their minds. The alien programming that had slept in their DNA for thousands of generations was finally activating completely. Admiral Chen felt it too. Suddenly, he could see his ships not as separate vessels, but as part of a larger organism. He could sense every human in his fleet, and they could sense him. "Sir," Commander Liu said, her voice filled with wonder, "I think we're about to find out what humanity is really capable of." The alien fleet waited in space, confident in their superior technology. They had no idea that they were not facing the primitive species they had left behind 30,000 years ago. They were facing something entirely new, a fusion of alien technology and human creativity that had never existed before in the galaxy. The real test was about to begin. The first alien attack came without warning. Beams of pure energy lanced out from the Kethmori ships, targeting Earth's orbital defense stations. The weapons should have destroyed them instantly. Instead, the stations absorbed the energy and grew brighter. Admiral Marcus Chen watched in amazement as his defense platforms began to pulse with power they had never possessed before. The absorbed alien energy was being converted into something else, something better. "All ships, defensive positions," he ordered, but his voice carried more confidence than it had moments before. He could feel the connection to every human in his fleet growing stronger. The Kethmori fleet paused, clearly surprised by what they had just witnessed. Their perfect formation shifted slightly, showing the first sign of uncertainty. Commander Sarah Liu was monitoring the tactical displays when she noticed something incredible. "Sir, our ships are moving in perfect coordination, but no one is giving those orders." Marcus looked at the display and saw she was right. The human fleet was repositioning itself with a precision that should have been impossible. Ships were moving like they were parts of a single organism, anticipating each other's actions. "It's not just our ships," Sarah continued, her voice filled with wonder. "I'm getting reports from all over the system. Every human settlement, every space station, they're all working together without being told to." Dr. Elena Vasquez had just reached the surface when she felt the change sweep through her mind. Suddenly, she could sense every human in the solar system. She could feel Admiral Chen's determination, Dr. Wright's excitement, and the fear and hope of billions of people on Earth. But more than that, she could feel the alien AI that had been sleeping in the ocean depths. It was fully awake now, and it was afraid. "What's wrong?" Elena asked as she climbed onto the research vessel. "The Kethmori are not the same people I remember." The AI's voice echoed in her mind. 30,000 years of war have changed them. They have forgotten how to create, how to grow. They only know how to take and destroy. The second wave of alien attacks was more coordinated. The Kethmori ships spread out, targeting multiple human positions at once. Their weapons were designed to overwhelm any defense, but humanity was no longer defending in the traditional sense. Captain Lisa Rodriguez was commanding a small patrol ship when the aliens targeted her position. She should have been destroyed. But as the alien beam approached, her ship seemed to bend space around itself. The attack passed through empty space where her ship should have been. "How did you do that?" her navigator asked, staring at the instruments in confusion. Lisa looked at her hands, which were still gripping the controls. She had moved the ship in a way that should have been impossible, folding space like paper to avoid the attack. "I don't know," she whispered. "It just felt right." All across the human fleet, similar impossible things were happening. Ships were moving faster than their engines should allow. Weapons were hitting targets at impossible distances. Communications were working instantly across light years. The Kethmori realized they were not fighting the humans they expected. Emergency communications began flying between their ships as they tried to understand what was happening. "Commander Zektar, these creatures are using our own technology against us," one of the Kethmori captains reported. Commander Zektar, leader of the alien fleet, studied the readings from the battle. The humans were not just using Kethmori technology. They were using it in ways the Kethmori had never imagined. "Impossible," he said. "Primitive species cannot improve on our designs," but the evidence was right in front of him. Human ships were performing maneuvers that violated the known laws of physics. Their weapons were more efficient than Kethmori equivalents. Even their defensive systems were beyond what should have been possible. Dr. Elena Vasquez was now back on Luna Station, interfacing directly with the research computers. As soon as she touched the keyboard, the entire station's computer network came alive in a way it never had before. "James, are you seeing this?" she called to Dr. Wright, who was monitoring from Earth. "Elena, every computer system on the planet is linking up. It's like they're forming a single massive network." Elena nodded, understanding what was happening. The alien AI had programmed humanity not just to use individual pieces of technology, but to connect all technology into a living system. "It's not just the computers," she realized. "It's everything. Every tool, every machine, every piece of technology that humans have ever built. It's all becoming part of one giant organism." Admiral Chen felt the change wash over his fleet. Suddenly, every ship under his command was connected not just to each other, but to every piece of human technology in the solar system. His tactical display now showed not just his own ships, but manufacturing facilities on Mars, research stations, in the asteroid belt, and even simple tools being used by colonists on distant moons. Everything was part of the same system. "Sarah, we're not just coordinating our fleet anymore," he said in amazement. "We're coordinating our entire civilization." The third alien attack was their most desperate. The Kethmori formed their ships into a single massive formation and fired all their weapons at once, targeting Earth itself. The attack should have destroyed the planet. Instead, every piece of human technology in the solar system activated at once. Defense stations, manufacturing facilities, research labs, even kitchen appliances in homes across Earth began to glow with energy. The alien attack struck an invisible barrier that surrounded the entire solar system. The energy was absorbed, converted, and redirected back at the alien fleet. But the returned energy was not a weapon. It was something the Kethmori had not seen in thousands of years. A communication beam designed not to destroy, but to understand. Commander Zektar felt the human communication enter his mind. For a moment, he experienced what it was like to be human, the creativity, the constant desire to build and improve, the way they turned everything into something better than it was before. "By the void," he whispered. "What have they become?" The communication carried more than just thoughts. It carried memories of human history, how they had taken the alien AI's gift and used it to lift themselves up, how they had turned weapons into tools of exploration, how they had built a civilization based on cooperation rather than conquest. But most importantly, it carried a warning. Elena was the first to understand what the alien AI was trying to tell them. The Kethmori were not just returning for their lost weapons. They were running from something. "Admiral," she called over the communication system, "the AI is showing me something. The Kethmori aren't here to conquer us. They're here because they're being chased." Marcus felt the knowledge flow into his mind. Images of dark shapes moving through space, consuming entire star systems. The void devourers, ancient enemies that ate energy itself. "They're coming here," Marcus realized. The void devourers. They've been following the Kethmori across the galaxy, and now they're heading for Earth. The alien fleet stopped attacking. Commander Zektar opened a direct communication channel to Admiral Chen. "Human Admiral." His voice was different now, less arrogant, and more desperate. "We did not realize what you had become. Our war has been long, and we had forgotten that there were other ways to fight." Marcus looked at his fleet, still glowing with power that seemed impossible. "What are these void devourers? They consume energy, matter, life itself. They have destroyed half the galaxy. The arsenal of silence is the only weapon that has ever harmed them. But we lost it when our ship crashed on your world." Elena understood now why the alien AI had hidden the weapons and changed humanity. It had not been preparing them to fight the Kethmori. It had been preparing them to fight something much worse. "The arsenal of silence isn't just weapons anymore," Elena said, broadcasting to both fleets. "Humanity has changed it. We've turned it into something that can create as well as destroy." Commander Zektar's response was filled with hope for the first time in centuries. "Show us." What happened next would change the course of galactic history. Humanity was about to demonstrate that they had not just preserved alien technology, they had made it into something completely new. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was going to lead it. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood in the command center of Luna Station, her hands placed on a control panel that glowed with alien symbols. Around the world, similar panels were activating in ancient sites that had been dormant for thousands of years. "Elena, the energy readings are incredible," Dr. James Wright reported from Earth. "Every ancient site on the planet is connecting to your signal." Elena could feel it. The arsenal of silence was waking up. But it was not the same weapon the Kethmori had lost 30,000 years ago. Humanity had changed it into something greater. Admiral Marcus Chen coordinated with Commander Zektar as their two fleets prepared for what was coming. The void devourers were approaching the edge of the solar system, and they brought darkness with them. "How long do we have?" Marcus asked. "Their scouts will arrive within hours," Zektar replied. "The main force will follow within days. Once they begin consuming your star, nothing will be able to stop them." Marcus looked at the tactical display showing the approaching threat. The void devourers were not like any enemy humanity had ever faced. They were not ships or soldiers. They were living darkness that consumed everything in their path. Elena felt the arsenal connecting to her mind more deeply. The weapons were not just machines. They were part of a living network that had been growing and learning for 30,000 years. "I can see how to use them," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "But they won't work for just one person. They need all of us." "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "The arsenal of silence was designed to be used by the Kethmori collective mind. But humans are different. We don't have a natural collective consciousness. We have to create one." Commander Sarah Liu was monitoring communications across the solar system when she noticed something amazing happening. "Sir, people all over human space are volunteering to link their minds to Elena's network. Billions of them. On Earth, families gathered around communication devices, placing their hands on screens that connected them to the growing network. On Mars, miners deep underground felt the call and joined their consciousness to the whole. In the asteroid belt, lonely researchers in distant stations felt less alone as they became part of something larger. Dr. Richard Hayes on Mars was one of the first to make the connection. As soon as he touched the alien artifact in his laboratory, his mind expanded beyond his body. He could sense Elena on Luna Station, Admiral Chen in his flagship, and millions of other humans across the system. "This is incredible," he whispered. "I can feel everyone." But it was more than just feeling connected to other humans. Through the network, he could sense the alien technology as if it were part of his own body. He could understand machines he had never seen and operate weapons he had never trained with. Elena was at the center of the growing network, but she was not controlling it. Instead, she was part of it, connected to every human who chose to join. The collective consciousness was not like the Kethmori version, which was rigid and uniform. The human network was alive with creativity and individual thought. "Commander Zektar," Elena called through the communication system, We're ready to show you what the arsenal has become. The first demonstration took place near Jupiter. Elena, connected to billions of human minds, reached out with the arsenal of silence and touched one of Jupiter's smaller moons. Instead of destroying it, the weapon began to transform it. The dead rock came alive with energy, growing and changing, until it became a garden world complete with oceans and forests. Impossible, Zektar breathed. The arsenal was designed to destroy, not create. That's because your people forgot how to dream, Elena replied. Humans never stopped dreaming of making things better. The Kethmori fleet watched in amazement as humanity demonstrated their mastery of the transformed arsenal. Dead asteroids became living worlds, empty space filled with energy that could support life. The weapons of ultimate destruction had become tools of ultimate creation. But even as they celebrated this miracle, the first Void Devourer scouts arrived at the edge of the solar system. The darkness was unlike anything the humans had imagined. It was not the absence of light, but the absence of everything. Where the Void Devourers moved, stars went out, planets crumbled to dust, and space itself seemed to die. All human and Kethmori ships prepare for combat, Admiral Chen ordered. But he knew that conventional weapons would be useless against this enemy. Elena felt the approach of the Void Devourers through the collective consciousness. They were not just creatures. They were anti-life itself, the opposite of everything that lived and grew and dreamed. Everyone, focus your thoughts, she called out across the network. Remember what we're fighting for. Remember why life is worth preserving. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Billions of human minds shared their memories. Children laughing, lovers holding hands, scientists making discoveries, artists creating beauty, farmers growing food, builders constructing homes. The collective consciousness blazed with the joy and wonder of being alive. Elena channeled that energy through the arsenal of silence, but instead of firing weapons, she created something entirely new. Around the solar system, barriers of pure life energy began to form. Where the Void Devourers consumed everything, these barriers would create everything. The first major battle took place near Pluto. A massive Void Devourer, larger than a moon, approached the barrier. Where it touched the life energy, an incredible reaction occurred. Instead of the darkness consuming the light began to consume the darkness. The Void Devourer shrieked across dimensions as it was forced to experience what it had destroyed. The joy of existence, the beauty of creation, the power of hope. Commander Zektar watched this impossible sight and felt something he had not experienced in centuries. Hope, human admiral, he called to Marcus. Your species has accomplished something we thought was impossible. You have found a way to not just fight the void, but to heal it. Elena felt the truth of those words through the network. The Void Devourers were not evil. They were empty. They consumed because they had forgotten how to create. The arsenal of silence, transformed by human dreams and alien technology, was teaching them to live again. But the main Void Devourer force was still approaching, and it was vast beyond imagination. Hundreds of entities that had consumed entire galaxies were heading for Earth, drawn by the light of the human collective consciousness. Elena, the energy requirements for stopping all of them will be enormous, Dr. Wright warned from Earth. I don't know if even our entire civilization can generate enough power. Elena smiled as she felt the response of the human network. People across the solar system were not just offering their minds to the collective. They were offering their hopes, their dreams, their very souls to the fight. We won't be fighting alone, she said. Watch. Across the galaxy, other species that had hidden from the Void Devourers for millennia felt the light of the human network. Civilizations that had given up hope began to reach out, adding their consciousness to the growing alliance. The Kethmori were first, their collective mind joining seamlessly with humanity's network, but they were followed by others, the crystal entities of the Andromeda Spiral, the energy beings of the Magellanic Clouds, the ancient machines of the galactic core. For the first time in millions of years, the galaxy was uniting against the darkness. Elena stood at the center of this incredible network, feeling the thoughts and dreams of countless species flowing through her mind. But she remained human, remained herself, even as she became part of something infinitely larger. "All right, everyone," she said, her voice carrying across light years to billions of minds. "Let's show the universe what hope looks like." The arsenal of silence transformed into the arsenal of life, began to charge for the battle that would determine the fate of all existence. The real war was about to begin, and for the first time in cosmic history, life itself was fighting back. The final battle began when the main Void Devourer force reached the outer edge of the solar system. They came not as ships or armies, but as a wave of absolute darkness that consumed light, matter, and hope itself. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood at the center of the greatest collective consciousness ever assembled. Billions of humans, millions of Keth Mori, and countless other species from across the galaxy had joined their minds into a single network of life and creativity. "Remember," she called out across the network, "we're not here to destroy them. We're here to remind them what they used to be." Admiral Marcus Chen coordinated the combined fleets as they took position around Earth. Human ships flew alongside Kethamori vessels. Their technologies merged into something greater than either species could achieve alone. "All ships, maintain formation," Marcus ordered. "We're the shield while Elena and the network do their work." Commander Zektar's voice joined the communication. "Human Admiral, in 30,000 years of war, we never imagined this day would come. We are honored to fight beside you." The first wave of Void Devourers struck the solar system's outer defenses, where they touched the barriers of life energy that Elena had created. Reality itself began to change. The darkness that had consumed galaxies for millions of years met something it had never encountered before. The focused hope and creativity of an entire galaxy working together. Dr. James Wright was monitoring the battle from Earth when he witnessed something incredible. "Elena, the Void Devourers aren't just being stopped. They're changing." Elena felt it too through the network. Where the life energy touched the creatures of darkness, they began to remember what they had been before they became consumers of existence. "They were like us once," she realized, her voice filled with wonder. "They were creators, dreamers, builders of civilizations." Something made them forget. The alien AI that had slept in Earth's oceans for 30,000 years shared its ancient memories through the network. Long ago, before the Void Devourers became destroyers, they had been the most creative species in the universe. They had built wonders that spanned entire galaxies, but they had made a mistake. In their quest to create the perfect existence, they had removed all struggle, all challenge, all growth from their lives. Without the need to overcome difficulties, they had forgotten how to dream. Without dreams, they had become empty. And emptiness, it turned out, was hungry. That's why the arsenal of silence works on them, Elena understood. It's not a weapon. It's a reminder of what they lost. The battle raged across the solar system, but it was unlike any war that had ever been fought. Instead of destruction, there was transformation. Each Void Devourer that touched the network of life energy began to remember what it meant to create, rather than consume. Captain Lisa Rodriguez, commanding her patrol ship near Mars, watched in amazement as a Void Devourer, the size of a small planet, began to change. The darkness that had surrounded it for millions of years started to crack like an eggshell, revealing light underneath. "Command, you're not going to believe this," she reported. "The Void Devourer is building something. It's creating a star system where there was nothing but empty space." All across the battlefield, the same thing was happening. As the Void Devourers remembered their true nature, they began to rebuild what they had destroyed. Dead systems came back to life. Consumed planets reformed from cosmic dust. Stars that had been extinguished began to burn again. But the largest and oldest of the Void Devourers was still approaching Earth. This one had consumed more than any other, and its hunger was so great that it threatened to overwhelm even the combined consciousness of the Galactic Alliance. Elena felt the weight of its approach pressing against her mind. This creature had been feeding on the death of civilizations for so long that it had almost forgotten it had ever been anything else. Elena, the energy requirements are too high, Dr. Wright warned. If you try to convert this one, it might drain the entire network. Elena looked around the command center of Luna Station, where her colleagues were monitoring the flow of consciousness from billions of minds across the galaxy. She could feel their trust, their hope, their willingness to sacrifice everything for the chance to heal the universe. Sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything, she said quietly. She reached out with the full power of the arsenal of life, now supported by the dreams and hopes of an entire galaxy. The energy beam that struck the greatest void, Devourer, was not made of matter or force but of pure creativity and love. For a moment that seemed to last forever, the outcome was uncertain. The ancient hunger of the creature fought against the collective will of billions of living beings. Then, something beautiful happened. The Void Devourer began to sing. It was a song of remembrance, of joy rediscovered, of creativity reborn. The sound carried across space itself, reaching every corner of the galaxy. Other Void Devourers heard it and remembered their own songs, their own dreams, their own desire to create rather than consume. The transformation was complete. The last of the great destroyers had become a creator once again. Admiral Chen watched from his command ship as the former Void Devourer began its greatest work. Using matter it had consumed over millions of years, it started building new star systems at an incredible pace. Planets formed in minutes, complete with oceans and forests and everything needed for life to flourish. Elena, what happens now? He asked. Elena smiled, feeling the vast network of consciousness that now connected species across the galaxy. Now, we build the future together. The AI that had waited in Earth's oceans for 30,000 years finally spoke directly to Elena. One last time. You have exceeded even my greatest hopes, it said. Humanity has not just saved the galaxy. You have taught the galaxy how to dream again. What about you? Elena asked. Will you stay with us? I am already with you, the AI replied. I have been part of human consciousness for 30,000 years. Now I will be part of galactic consciousness forever. Commander Zektar brought his ship alongside Admiral Chen's flagship. When the two commanders met in person for the first time, it was not as former enemies but as partners in building something new. The Keth Mori owe humanity a debt we can never repay, Zektar said. You have given us back our ability to hope. Marcus shook his head. We're all in this together. Now human, Keth Mori, and all the others. We're not separate species anymore. We're one family. Dr. Elena Vasquez returned to Earth to find a world transformed. The ancient sites that had glowed with alien energy were now centers of learning where humans and aliens worked together. Children played in parks where trees from a dozen different worlds grew side by side. Dr. Wright met her at the spaceport, his face beaming with excitement. Elena, you have to see what's happening, he said. The former Void Devourers are sharing their memories with us. We're learning about civilizations that existed millions of years ago. The knowledge they're sharing could advance our science by eons. Elena nodded, but she was more interested in something else. All around her she could see humans and aliens working together, learning from each other, building things that neither species could have created alone. The real victory isn't the technology or the knowledge, she said. It's that we proved the universe is better when we work together instead of fighting each other. Years passed and the galaxy became a very different place. Where once there had been empty space between stars, now there were gardens floating in the void, created by the former Void Devourers as gifts to the living worlds. The arsenal of silence had been transformed into something new. The heart of creation, a network that connected all living beings in the galaxy and allowed them to share their dreams and hopes across impossible distances. Humanity spread to the stars, but they never forgot the lesson they had learned. Wherever they went, they brought not conquest but cooperation. They found other species and helped them join the galactic community. They turned weapons into tools, enemies into friends, and darkness into light. Elena, now much older, but still connected to the galactic network, often stood on Luna Station and looked out at the stars. Each one was now surrounded by living worlds, connected by bonds of friendship and cooperation that spanned the entire galaxy. Did we do the right thing? She sometimes wondered. The answer always came from the network itself, from billions of voices speaking as one. Yes. We chose hope over fear, creation over destruction, love over hate. And that has made all the difference. The galaxy was no longer a place of war and emptiness. It had become something beautiful, a community of dreamers working together to build wonders that none of them could have imagined alone. And at the heart of it all was a simple truth that humanity had taught the universe. The greatest power in existence was not the ability to destroy, but the ability to create, to hope, and to love. The real adventure was just beginning.